Please join me tonight, Wednesday, April 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a live chat about the Lannister siblings in the final season of Game of Thrones. There we can discuss this video, your thoughts and opinions on their fates, and make crazy predictions. The Westerlands, and by extension the Lannisters, are coming to a close, so I thought this would be a great time to talk about my predictions for the Lannisters in the final season of Game of Thrones. Warning, there are potential spoilers for the final season in this video. Let's start with Jaime. Jaime is a lot of people's favorite. The actor has said a few times that people have told him that they went from hating his character to rooting for him to make it to the end. But let's be honest, Jaime isn't making it to the end, is he? His arc is almost complete. He went from being completely devoted to his sister to realizing her true nature. She's evil as fuck, and he needs to get far, far away. It would make sense that Jaime dies while defending the realm. That is all Jaime has ever done. His greatest act that saves so many lives is deemed his worst.
There it is. That's the look. Seen it for 17 years and face after face. You all despise me. Kingslayer. Oathbreaker. Man without honor.
Yet Jaime doesn't regret it. Despite all the mud slung at him about it, he still believes he's right. And yeah, he's done some shitty things in the past.
The things I do for love.
But Jaime has seen the light, and he rode away from his batshit crazy sister. He's gonna do what's right for the realm one more time, and that's going to end in his death. The right thing is going to lead him to Winterfell to fight with Jon and Dany against the undead. He's going back to where he belongs, fighting alongside Brienne of Tarth for what is right. This moment will become his new greatest moment, but unlike the first one, he won't make it out. One possible outcome is Jaime dies fighting the undead and trying to stop their progress. He could die next to Brienne in an impossibly outnumbered fight. In the end though, he is with someone that truly loves him for who he is. Just not because he's a pretty reflection. Of course, that sounds like way too easy of an ending for a man that took way too long to learn his lesson about his sister. And in a way, even though he didn't create the monster, he did help maintain it and feed it. So to complete his arc, he needs to do something more than just ride away from her. He's already done that before, a few times now. He needs to stop the monster. Many people point out that they didn't complete the prophecy from the books in the show, that there is no little brother to wrap his hands around Cersei's neck. But I still have suspicion we'll see the rest of Maggie the Frog's flashback in this final season. Or maybe we won't, because really, we don't need to see it for Jaime to take on that role. I have a suspicion that Jaime may in fact survive the fighting up north, but Brienne dies in his arms. When he heads back to King's Landing to tell Cersei, hey, this is a huge problem, stop being a backstabbing bitch, he'll realize that she truly is Mad King 2.0. Though I guess he already realized that by leaving in the first place. But then again, the undead threat could be taken care of and Dany may want her throne. Jaime may realize Dany is the better queen and try to reason with his sister to step down. It is highly likely that Jaime is going to return to King's Landing when Jon Snow does to try to convince her, hey, we really need your help now, please stop being a backstabbing bitch, this is, for realsies. Or maybe he comes back later and she just goes full-blown psycho when he says, hey, yeah, we need to really be helping. This is a big deal. Maybe she's even willing to burn down King's Landing rather than give it to that dragon bitch. This is when Jaime is forced to kill his sister, for the good of the realm, which sounds so cliche and obvious at this point with the theories that have been around, but keep in mind, for non-book readers, this may not be so obvious. Book readers have been very spoiled with theories. But does Jaime die afterwards? Does he die with her? Or does he head off after everything to find new meaning in his life? Or maybe he stays on the Queen's Guard to Dany. Kinda morbid and maybe worrisome for Dany, but it could work. Now, there is a little part of me that thinks Jaime and Brienne ending up together and going on little adventures together would be super endearing. But honestly, I want Tormund and Brienne more in the show, and I think the fate of Jaime in the end is death. As sad as that would be for him. Finally gets his head out of his ass to die doing the right thing. But maybe that's the bill that is paid for pushing a kid out the window, or fucking another man's wife. Speaking of pushing a kid out the window, we'll also definitely see that uncomfortable reunion between Jaime and Bran. However, I don't think Bran is really going to give a fuck in his current state, so it's going to be more awkward for Jaime. Alright, let's move on to Tyrion. Tyrion is a lot more likable in the show than he is in the books, even though tons of people like him in the books, despite the super shitty things he's done. Shitty things that I feel like people try to just gloss over or forget. In the show, he's always been about doing what is right, though he does have a lot of love for alcohol and sex. Tyrion is in love with Dany, but so are a lot of people. I think we all know Tyrion and Dany will never be a couple, and I have little doubt Tyrion makes it to the end of the show. There would be nothing to really gain by his death besides shock value, though we have seen that before in the show. However, Tyrion's death in this final season just doesn't make sense with what they've written so far. It would be very out of place with how and where they've been pushing his character. But I want you to think really hard and see if in your head that it makes any sense for Tyrion to die in this final season, especially for what the show writers are going for. If Dany sits the Iron Throne, or a new Iron Throne, Tyrion will continue to be her hand and most trusted advisor. But there is a real chance that Dany dies in this war, or maybe during pregnancy like her mother died birthing her. In that case, Jon Snow would, in all likelihood, come to rule the realm. What is left of the realm. In this event, I could see Tyrion serving as hand, but now under Jon. The two have a relationship, like each other, and Jon would do really well to rely on his wisdom. Now, there are some that believe Tyrion will be the one to kill Cersei. After all, choking a bitch is his signature move. But I can't see him ending Cersei despite all the torment she ever aimed at him. Tyrion probably wouldn't get close enough to kill his sister, not like Jaime could. So Tyrion's role in the final season will be to advise Dany and Jon, stay at one of their sides as hand in the new world that they build, and to live out his life with the respect and power he deserves. And as one of the last Lannisters. But hey, I'm sure he has some cousins running around, especially at Lannisport, to repopulate the line. I can absolutely see Tyrion becoming Lord of the Westerlands, like he should have been for quite a while. Hopefully there's a Westerlands after the war. And I know quite a few people want Tyrion and Sansa to end up together at the very end, which, you know, could really work. It would be cute for her to finally end up with someone that treats her how she always wanted to be treated, despite him looking the opposite of what she's always wanted. And honestly, they're both fucked up enough to finally truly understand each other. When they first wed, Sansa had been through a lot, but I don't think enough for her and Tyrion to be able to level with each other. Sansa, through her horrifying experiences, can finally top Tyrion in the, yeah, this was really fucked up department. The only thing I don't like about this is it's too cutesy. Tyrion and Sansa back together, living in happiness. But maybe Game of Thrones owes us one or two happy endings. Finally, let's talk about Cersei. I can't think of a way where Cersei living makes sense. If she is cast down, where does she go? To rule the Westerlands? That seems like too much of a risk for Jon and or Dany. Cersei has been on borrowed time for a while. Maggie the Frog, the uncomfortably hot witch, prophesies her end.
But I will be queen.
Oh, yes. You'll be queen. For a time. Then comes another. Younger. More beautiful. To cast you down and take all you hold dear.
Her children are gone. Yeah, she's currently pregnant, but there's no way that kid lives. Although, how cool would it be if the Night King gets to King's Landing and the baby dies inside her, and then he raises the baby back up, and the baby, like, gnaws its way out of her stomach and just fucking pops out. So cool, that's the fucking answer. Instead, she'll probably have a miscarriage. With her children all dead, now it is time for the more beautiful queen to cast her down. Cersei thought that was Marjorie, but she is gone, and the Mad Queen remains, which means Dany will fulfill the end of the prophecy, whether she dies in the end or not. Now, we know what they say about prophecies, and it would probably be a bit more involved in the books, but for the show, I really do think what you see, or what you hear, is what you get. They have clearly set it up for Cersei to fall to Dany. Now, again, that doesn't mean she dies, especially if they leave out the choking part of the prophecy, but where would she go? Essos? Can you really see Cersei being banished to Essos to wander around and make ends meet? And is Dany stupid enough to leave such a potential threat around? Yeah, it would be really hard for Cersei to ever get enough power to come back for the throne, but as we saw with Dany, don't underestimate anyone. Although I can't deny how wonderful it would be to see Cersei married off to a very minor lord and live out her life in a backwater part of the realm. Bonus that the lord is very strong-willed and puts up with none of her shit. Extra bonus if Jaime then got married to a beautiful woman and inherited nice lands, having given the Westerlands to Tyrion like he deserves. Now, what are your thoughts for the fate of the 3 Lannister siblings in the final season? Make sure to come back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about it with me live.